Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the top United Nations court issuing its preliminary ruling in South Africa's charge of genocide against Israel. It comes as Israeli forces make major advances against Hamas in the city of Khan Younis and advance toward the terrorist group's leadership. With International Holocaust Remembrance Day upon us, we're going to have a look at how the Hamas attacks of October 7th have brought new meaning to that historic tragedy and a new push for spiritual readiness in the U.S. military. All those stories and more ahead today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour with the top United Nations court issuing a preliminary ruling in South Africa's charge of genocide against Israel in Gaza. And in Israel, the military has taken out hundreds of terrorists in the Hamas stronghold of Khan Younis in Gaza as it advances towards Hamas's leadership. Chris Mitchell brings us the story. He's in Jerusalem.
The IDF is now operating in the heart of Khan Younis in southern Gaza. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said hundreds of Hamas terrorists are dead underground and many have surrendered. The IDF spokesman tells CBN News a hit on an UNRWA building that killed 9 people was not an Israeli air or artillery strike. It's reviewing its ground operations and the possibility it was Hamas fire. Despite the incident, the New York Times is reporting the number of Gazan deaths has dropped dramatically since Israel changed its tactics on the ground several weeks ago. The total number, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health, now tops 26,000 people, a number that includes Hamas terrorists. In the meantime, President Biden dispatched CIA Director William Burns to meet with Israeli and Qatari leaders to work on a deal to release all the hostages in exchange for an extended pause in the fighting. The meeting is complicated by leaked audio of Benjamin Netanyahu criticizing Qatar in a meeting with Israeli hostage families.
Why do they have leverage? Because they are funding them. I was very angry recently, and I did not hide it from the Americans as they renewed the contract of the military base they have with Qatar. Why did not you say anything? I am asking you to return the hostages to us. This is pressure. Why? Because Qatar has pressure on Hamas. First of all, put pressure on Qatar.
Founder of Memory that monitors leaders in the region, Yigal Karman, told CBN News he believes Qatar is being disingenuous in the negotiations as longtime supporters of Hamas.
Yes, the Hamas is Qatar. Qatar is Hamas. The leaders are there for years, and billions of dollars were funneled to Gaza to build tunnels, 500 kilometers of tunnels. This is not known because Qatar, this emirate, which is very rich, is playing a double game, a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde game.
Saturday marks the first global International Holocaust Remembrance Day since the October 7th attack. One recent study revealed Nazi and Islamist ideologies share similar views. The Hamas massacre, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust, has many allies of the Jewish people declaring, "Never again is now."
Chris Mitchell joins us now from Jerusalem with more. So, Chris, the International Court of Justice ruled early today there is enough information to go ahead with South Africa's genocide charge against Israel. What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you here, Israel is rejecting the genocide accusation, has asked the court to throw out the case. The case is going to go ahead and proceed. It may take years. An Israeli lawyer says it's really rubber stamping South Africa's case, partly because the case makes no differentiation between terrorist death and civilians' death. So here in Israel, they think this is just one more front in the accusations and the attack against Israel. But this is on the lawfare front there at the International Court of Justice. As I said, it's going to take years for this case to go forward, and we can expect that this is going to be in the news over and over again while South Africa accuses Israel of genocide. Israel, on the other hand, says it's really Hamas is the one that is trying to commit genocide. It's what they did on October 7th. They wanted to kill Israelis all throughout southern Gaza, and they said they would do it again and again and again.
Chris, let's talk about the war itself. You spoke with a retired general about Israel's campaign in the city of Khan Younis in Gaza. What did he tell you?
Well, first, Ephraim, he said the IDF is winning and winning big time. It's really not what you'd expect from the Israeli media or maybe the foreign ministry media. The IDF controls northern Gaza. And he also says that the 7 brigades are attacking Khan Younis right now. They believe Hamas's leaders are there, and he says he's never seen 7 brigades in one area before in Israel's history, and they're making very good progress closing in on those Hamas leaders. He says he hopes to see a major strategic shift in the next few weeks. He also was telling me that it's crucial to what happens the day after. Those decisions are going to shape Israel's future. And final point, Ephraim, he said this is not a local war. It's a global war with an Iranian, Russian, Chinese front has emerged, and it's vital that American leadership will be present in this new world.
Chris, Israel's defense minister says Hamas is collapsing in its tunnels. What is the story there?
Well, what Gallant means is that Hamas terrorists are literally being trapped in the tunnels that they had dug to fight Israeli soldiers. So far, they've captured more than 100 Hamas terrorists in the past few days. Hundreds have been killed. They found large amounts of ammunition and weapons, which is something they found throughout Gaza. And Israel is getting to the point, according to the Gallant, where they're going to control Gaza militarily. And as I said before, it's believed the 2 major leaders of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar and Mohammed Deif, the head of Hamas's military wing, are in Khan Younis. If they're captured, it's really going to mark a huge shift in the war, Ephraim.
Chris, what more can you tell us about the reduced number of civilian deaths in Gaza?
Well, it's a New York Times report that just came out that said the daily death toll has fallen in the past month. And because of that, they believe the IDF has reduced the number of troops in northern Gaza. And the death toll by Hamas's Ministry of Health, they really don't include terrorists or those killed by their own misfired rockets, and that's up to into the hundreds. You know, the death of any civilians is a tragedy. But however, in the past, we've talked to Colonel Richard Kemp. He's the former commander of British forces in Afghanistan. He says the ratio of civilian combatants in the fighting in Gaza is about 1 to 1.5, and any civilian death is a tragedy, but that ratio is very low compared to other conflicts.
In your report, you mentioned that President Biden is sending the CIA director to work on a deal to free the hostages. But is there mistrust in the Israeli government over any possible agreement?
Exactly. There are, Ephraim, there's huge gap remaining in the negotiations. Reportedly, this deal would see all of the remaining 132 hostages released in phases over the next several months. The war itself would be paused. In the meantime, thousands of Palestinian prisoners would be released. And there's a big concern, Ephraim, right now for the concern of the health and the well-being of the hostages themselves. There's reports of torture, sexual abuse, and lack of medication. And of the 132 or so hostages still in Gaza, the IDF believes about 28 have died or been executed. And so the hostage deal over here is a very, very contentious and a very emotional a thing right here in Israel, Ephraim. You know, you can't go very far before you see a poster, whether it's at a bus stop or places all over Israel and Jerusalem, where you see, you know, sometimes large posters. And as I said the other day, many people are wearing these dog tags that just remind people to keep those hostages in mind and pray for their release.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, as always, for your insights. Please stay safe, and we'll continue to pray for you and our team on the ground there. Coming up, with International Holocaust Remembrance Day coming tomorrow, we're going to look at how the Hamas attacks of October 7th have brought new meaning to that memory of the historic tragedy and to the words never again. We're going to have that story for you. It's coming up right here on CBN NewsWatch when we come back.
Download the CBN News app. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Watch CBN News Channel Live. CBN News. Because truth matters. Get the CBN News app today.
Welcome back. As Chris Mitchell reported, tomorrow marks the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and just a few years ago, Israel and the rest of the world marked that remembrance on the 75th anniversary of the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau camp with declarations of never again. As CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl shows us, the October 7th massacre brought new meaning to the memory of the Holocaust and those words.
Israel has always been sensitive to any comparison to the Holocaust.
Since the Holocaust and the genocide of 6 million Jews in the Second World War, we've always said that nothing could ever compare to the Holocaust. And then October 7th happened. Completely different in scale, but not in its efficiency or barbarity or cruelty.
Hamas murdered more than 1,100 people, including women and children, during the October 7th attack.
It was a massacre in which Hamas death squads reduced whole families to the kind of human ash we haven't seen since Auschwitz. People who could only be identified in some cases by dental implants or pieces of bone because they were literally incinerated. It was a massacre conducted with Nazi-like cruelty, Nazi-like efficiency, and in the service of a Nazi-like ideology. The murder of every Jew in this country, every Israeli in this country, and every Jew in the world.
2 months before the October 7th attack, CBN News visited Poland, where around 3.5 million Jews lived before World War II, the largest Jewish community in the world with a 1,000-year history. When the Nazis invaded Poland in 1939, they put into action Operation Reinhard, the code name for the extermination of Polish Jewry. This is the city of Lublin today. But nearly 85 years ago, it was the SS headquarters.
Here, the Nazis, the SS, the Gestapo, the German army had their base, and it was from here that they planned the murder of over 2 million Polish Jews.
David Pileggi is rector of Christ Church in Jerusalem and regularly brings Christians here on tours to show them the vibrancy of Jewish life before the war and the magnitude of the Nazi destruction of the Jewish people.
And one building in particular where bureaucrats and planners sat, where they organized timetables for trains, dispatched killing units from one Jewish village to another Jewish town, either shot the Jews, put them in ghettos, or eventually sent them to one of 3 death camps in this part of Poland.
The execution-style murders where men, women, and children were shot at close range culminated in a 2-day killing spree. On November 3, 1943, German police and SS guards murdered some 18,000 Jewish prisoners from the Majdanek labor camp and others in the Lublin area and buried them in these grassy pits. It was part of an operation codenamed the Harvest Festival, in which 42,000 Jews were killed in just 2 days. That was the largest Nazi execution ever. Many say it marked the end of 1,000 years of Polish Jewry. Today, Majdanek is a well-preserved testimony to the evil that took place there.
Walking through the barracks, seeing the barbed wire and the watchtowers was absolutely chilling, and definitely brought tears to my eyes, and it was overwhelming. The Jews didn't sign up for war. The Jews were murdered.
Andrew Burkhausen, a recent visitor to Poland, says the scope of the Holocaust was too big to grasp.
When I was at the Majdanek labor camp today, thinking of the 18,000, that's a much smaller number than 6 million. 6 million is, you can't even imagine it. And I tried to imagine the 18,000, and I couldn't even get there. However, by walking through the labor camp and seeing the gas chambers and seeing the physical buildings really allowed me to imagine just one. And that was enough to break me down. And it's really important for people to expose themselves to this history.
Fast forward to October 7th.
And we will now be reflecting on what it means for us that the Nazis are no longer the exclusive, ultimate symbol of evil. Because on October 7th, we came face to face with a force as evil as the Nazis, less successful than the Nazis, but that's only because we stopped them, and we will continue fighting them.
Levy says, unlike the Nazis, Hamas is boasting about what it did.
And all the evidence is out there, and it's out there because Hamas filmed it. Because whereas the Nazis tried to cover up their crimes as the Allies invaded, Hamas proudly recorded everything on its GoPros and sent out the snuff videos on its Telegram channels because that violence gives violent anti-Semites a thrill. And people are denying it.
And Levy says the Jewish people have an advantage now.
We're now no longer stateless and defenseless and alone. We have a state, we have an army, we have allies, and we will continue to fight against the terrorist monsters who would gladly slaughter all of us in the most brutal way imaginable if given half a chance.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Poland and Jerusalem.
Still ahead, here in the United States, a new push for spiritual readiness in the military. We're going to take a look at how the Chaplain Corps helps to bring transformation to our soldiers. We've got the story for you. It's coming up right after this. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. The Pentagon is addressing a new need in our armed forces, what one leader calls spiritual readiness. For the first time since the Cold War, the Navy is expanding its Chaplain Corps. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke explores the rising demand for spiritual growth.
The goal is to fill 70 active duty slots, a number that would place one chaplain on board every destroyer.
A lot of the bad behaviors, a lot of the evidences of stress are reduced on ships, in units that have chaplains.
Rear Admiral Gregory Todd serves as the Navy's Chief of Chaplains, a position that also covers the Marine Corps and Coast Guard. Over the course of his career, Todd has worked as a chaplain in all three branches, responding to Ground Zero after 9/11 and deploying to both Iraq and Afghanistan.
The funny thing about being a chaplain is the most satisfying moments are in some of the most challenging times because you're there to bring God into that situation.
With growing mental health issues threatening service members across the board, Todd says chaplains can be the tip of the spear.
We become often first responders for them as they experience some of these stress issues. Some of them are normal stressors of life, and we can help them and normalize those things. But we also work with our partners in the mental health world when something becomes a lot more serious than just a normal stressor.
According to research from Columbia University, Duke, and Harvard, those engaged in spiritual practices are 50 to 80% less likely to die by suicide and 60% less likely to suffer depression. Todd says the Pentagon's decision to grow the Chaplain Corps is part of an effort to better care for people, a new emphasis on what he calls spiritual readiness. Now it's up to him to fill the vacancies, and he's counting on a new generation to answer the call. While a chaplain at Emory University, Lieutenant Commander Saul Burleson says God put military ministry on his heart.
When I looked at the men and women in uniform, what I found was people who were committing their lives to something greater, something greater than themselves. They were serving the Constitution. They were upholding and defending our inalienable rights.
Burleson now serves as a Navy chaplain on the USS Macon Island. While his sailors are similar in age to the college students with whom he once worked, the job responsibilities look quite different.
We're embedded with our sailors, our Marines, our Coast Guardsmen. We serve all the sea services and the men and women in uniform in those, wherever they're at, on board a ship, across the Atlantic or Pacific, with the Marines in a desert or in the Arctic. We're with them wherever they are.
Sometimes I would joke, I'd say, my job is to hang out with you guys as you do your job. But the reality is you're there to spend time, to tell stories, to go to the motor pool, to be there. And then in that life connection, transformation begins to take place. Someone needs time. People go, hey, chaplain, you got a minute? The answer is always yes.
Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Moore is an Army chaplain. After years deploying with soldiers, he now serves as a recruiter for the chaplaincy school at Fort Jackson. As the branch with the largest chaplain corps, Moore says the Army isn't looking to grow, but rather to maintain.
We're looking at recruiting the best qualified. Really, we're looking at about 300 each year. But when you think about all of the qualifications, it is hard to find the best qualified to continue to serve.
Military chaplains are required to meet the same age and physical fitness standards as any other service member. Plus, there's educational requirements, which include a bachelor's degree, a master's in divinity or some area of religion, and then professional ministry experience.
Soldiers give up an awful lot, but they shouldn't have to give up their faith. So we want the best qualified chaplains of all different faith groups.
Second Lieutenant Michael Engelsjerd is a candidate at the Army's chaplaincy school. He felt called to minister to soldiers after his own military service. As he goes through the chaplaincy program, he's learning to view the men and women he serves alongside in a much different light.
You know, it's a very different role. And as I'm learning things in seminary and learning about what ministry is, it's like I'm in the same places doing something completely different. And being able to draw on that experience while still having to get used to the new lens of what it means to be a chaplain.
3 decades into his career, Admiral Todd calls caring for the men and women of the armed services a sacred honor and privilege.
I said, okay, Lord, I'll do this for 4 years. I'll do one tour, and that's been over 30 years ago. This flock has a way of getting under your skin. And so then the prayer turned to, Lord, I'll do this as long as you need me to do this, because I love doing it and I'm happy to do that. But I can't decide when to go home. You have to tell me. And so I'm still here until the Navy says, okay, now you have to go home. You're too old. You have to go home now.
While the Navy is currently asking for 70 additional chaplains, Todd anticipates need for even further growth, and the Marine Corps and Coast Guard are expected to follow suit. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
We'll be right back with an encouraging word for your day ahead. It's coming up right after this. Time now for your Friday Faithful. Today I leave you with this reminder of something I said earlier in the week. In all things that God can do, there are 2 things he can't. God cannot lie, and God cannot fail. Live your life knowing those words are true. God is faithful to his love and true to his word. With that word, I encourage you to make this a fabulous Friday. Have yourself a wonderful weekend on purpose and in purpose as well. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. That address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you right back here, same time come Monday. Goodbye.